How's it going, guys? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. So just another recap on today's trading. Started the morning off a little different. So again, the market opened here at 7:30 Mountain Standard Time. I usually don't give out a bunch of pre-market movers. I wanted to change things up today and just give you guys a little bit more of a better understanding on how the market's opening. So I went in and I looked into my watch list. Again, I didn't have any screeners. All I was looking at was volume. Since volume tells you the most movement that's being done within the market open. And I did this within the TD Ameritrade platform. And with that, it allowed me to identify different stocks that were, either that had a lot of volume, either in the red or in the green. And that's essentially a good thing, right? It gives you a better understanding on what stocks are moving. And if you can kind of catch it at the bounce, if it's like a red stock, and I'm going to be talking to you about what I mean about that, catching at the bounce even though it's a red stock, or riding it up with an upper momentum. So we have both types of stocks today, and I'm going to give you guys a breakdown on the 3 different stocks that I traded and what led to my success today and what I could have improved on. I did mess up on one thing, and it was my entry point on a couple different stocks and where I actually should have bought in, and it probably would have led to a little bit more of a successful trade. So I started the morning off. Again, this is the TechBot Solutions chat room. So we're sitting a little bit over now 2,600 members worldwide from just a wide band of different experience levels. If you guys haven't done so already, feel free to join. It's a free group. You can join via Facebook. The link is provided for you down below. And with this, we actually provide you with the link to join our main chat room platform. And then by being accepted into the Facebook platform, then you can just jump right into the GroupMe platform where we share best practices and share mistakes as well in an effort to promote growth, right? So for those new members that are coming in, they can learn from what we're trading and ask any questions. It's a very welcoming group, so I would definitely recommend it. Again, it's free. So let me go ahead and get right into it. So I started with a couple pre-market movers like DUST, DGAS, NUGT, saying that it's down pre-market. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Again, we don't hold penny stocks overnight. NUGT is in a sense not a penny stock since it's trading above $10. But overall, like for those that did hold overnight, yeah, it is bad news for you guys. But for those that were going into it right now, since it's down so much pre-market, it's going to have a lot of upward momentum, right? That's in a sense what we look for. And this is a kind of a breakdown on where it closed, and then this is pre-market hours on how it continued to drop. And then I also was talking about IDXG. The reason I talked about IDXG was I do want to give credit to one of our traders that actually shouted it out, and it was Jose Matos that said IDXG looks like it's about to blow up. And then right after IDXG, then I started talking about the stocks that I was trading. And again, I want to know if you guys found this helpful, better or more helpful than what I usually do. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a better understanding on how the market was opening, as well as just give you about 2 to 3 different stocks that I was going to be focusing on. And right before the market opened, I did just that. So again, market hasn't opened yet. This is all pre-market hours. And then I simply talk about what it is that I'm going to be focusing on, DRYS and NUGT. Although I did just talk about those 2 stocks, I did jump into CIE. And CIE was one that I was trading actually on Friday, and it's one that built a really strong support around 77 cents, and that is essentially why I bought it. I bought it at 77. It hit highs of 85 today. I sold right away at 80, and I got right out, right? I made $117 within 3 minutes with that trade, and as soon as the market opened, that is exactly what I told the team. So we continue to go down the list. CIE at 79. Sold at 80, up 117, and then it continued to rise throughout the day. So for those that were able to ride it at highs of 85 cents, congrats to you. I saw resistance at 80 cents. I didn't want to push my luck, but it looked like just that. This is the standard moving average, or actually the EMA. So it kind of, after my alert, once it passed 80 cents, it looked like it stayed well above, overall, above the EMA, which is a pretty good sign. And then it crossed right around that like 83.5 cent mark. So definitely a lot of potential with CIE today since it was such a small cap. Simply with my trade, I nearly hit 4 or 5% profit. If it would have held a little bit longer, I definitely would have exceeded my 10% goal, but I wanted to ensure that I locked in my profit to reduce risk. So I jumped right out of that. I shouted out to the team, and then I went right into it. So because I traded CIE, I missed the bounce on NUGT. That did not mean that I couldn't in a sense still jump in. So what I was waiting for was for this EMA, again, it's the indicator that I use to, in a sense, cross the candlestick. So I'm going to get a little bit closer so you guys could see it. And as it dropped, it first had a drop here to about 11:30, came up, hit a resistance at 11:60, and that was clear. I let the team know right away that that was a support, that was a resistance. As it continued to come down, it actually dropped below 8:30, and it hit lows of 11:23. As it continued to rise, it broke above 11:49, and then that's when I jumped in. I jumped in actually when it hit the resistance at 11:60. It broke a little bit above it, came back down, and I jumped in at 11:50, right as it crossed the EMA. I jumped in, and I remember the candlesticks well above the EMA the entire time until it hit about that 1180 mark, and that was predictable in a sense because of the slight resistance there was around that area. I knew there was going to be a resistance obviously around that $12 mark, as it built that support built that resistance the entire day. It hit highs of $12.15. I was up at the most $169. I still didn't sell this one again because it's not in a sense a penny stock. I told the team exactly what my plan was, that I was following with a stop loss, and that I was going long on NUGT. I really saw the potential for this one to go all the way to $13, as it did the day before. So it hit highs of 13. Today's drop was mainly just because of how it closed on Friday, and it could have been more just because of news, right? But I didn't see any news that really showed NUGT to have any bad signs. Therefore, that is why I decided to jump in, and that's why I decided to hold. So right now, as the market is closed, it's sitting right about $11.97. So I'm up about $130 on this one so far. So again, 117 on CIE, and then 130 on NUGT. I haven't sold yet, so I can't, in a sense, say I locked in that profit, but it's still holding about that point after market hours. And I do have Robinhood Gold, so I can definitely sell after market hours. So I'm just going to see how the day goes. If it ends up, just staying very stagnant, then I'll probably just sell. If not, then if I do see that upward potential, I'll hold for the following day. And then my following trade was with DRYS. This is where I could have done a little bit better. I did shout out DRYS, and the reason I shouted this one out was obviously because of this huge just dump that it took. Just because it is in the red, right, because of how it previously closed, does not mean you have to be scared of it, or does not mean that you can't trade it, right, because your charts show that it's in the red. Because it dropped so much, it has a lot of margin to make up, and it built that support right away, and these are the ones that we really look for. When it builds the support at a certain point, it drops all the way down, touches the support line, and it built that support around 330, hit a resistance around 374. So I was like, okay, now I have my support and my resistance. It bounced again. This is on Friday, and it did this, right? So when looking at it, how it played out this morning, it pretty much did the same thing. The volume wasn't really there. If anything, it was actually showing upward momentum. But as the market opened, it continued to drop, and that is initially when we bought in. We waited for the bounce, and I think I waited a little bit longer than I should have, and that was my mistake. So initially when it came down, we waited for the bounce. It hit, I believe it hit like 327, and then I bought in at 330, hit highs of 338, and I was in at 330, so I was good, but then it continued to come back down. What I should have done is initially just waited for the bounce around that 226 and 227 area and gotten in there, because I would have felt a little bit more comfortable in being able to hold, since it held above 325 the entire time. Again, I was busy with my trade on NUGT, so I wasn't too active after I bought in with NUGT, after I stop lossed out, because as it continued to rise, I was highs of 338, so I was up on DRYS, but then it continued to drop. And again, what I usually do is when I buy at a point at the support level of 330, I usually sell right below the support at 329. That is something that I personally do to minimize loss, just because I want to see or reduce the maximum amount of loss altogether. Something I could have improved on this one is I could have worked on my entry point a little bit more and could have waited for a more solid bounce or a lower bounce altogether, since I gave it 3 cents of area room to, in a sense, gain without me jumping in. So that's something that I could have improved up today, because if I would have got in at 227, I would have set my stop loss at 324.99, and effort with that I would have never stop lossed out, and I could have written it all the way to where it did, either highs of 347. I probably would have sold at 345, because that is exactly what I told the team. From 345 to 350 was my target sell point, because of this old support that I was able to identify right here. As we know, old supports become new resistance levels, and that's essentially how it played out. Once it bounced again around 329, it went back up. So you had quite a bit of opportunity with DRYS, although it was in the red the entire day, nearly 26% loss. It definitely had these bounces, and these initial bounces can be identified when you perform technical analysis like this. So just being able to see the trend, seeing where it bounces, setting up a game plan on where to buy in right above the support, selling right below the resistance, and cutting losses anything below your support initially where you bought it, right? So I could have improved on my entry point, and that's something that I'm going to work on for the days to come. So that is my breakdown on today's trading. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and hopefully the members within our group and our group chat found what I did today a little bit more, in a sense, helpful with giving you guys a pre-market movers. And if you guys did, please let me know as I try to change things up to be a little bit more helpful for you guys. If you guys have any questions, you guys know how to reach out to me. It's techbuds@mail.com. You guys don't have to email me for the welcome document anymore. You simply just ask to join with the link that is provided for you down below through TechBuds, and then you can join the group chat right through there. Again, it's all free platforms, so you can network with like-minded entrepreneurs all over the world. Thank you guys again, and let's make sure we end the week on a green note. Take care, guys.